Women's attraction for you is based on your survivability. How likely are you to survive in today's society and yes, even thrive? And if you become emotionally weak for a woman, such as, for example, she's hanging out with some guy friend, and none of us like guy friends, okay? I get it. But she's hanging out with this dude and you get peanut butter and jealous. And you show that to her, she's gonna lose attraction for you because here's how she thinks. If he becomes that weak because of what I do, what's society gonna do to him? So even if you are jealous, don't show it.
Welcome to the Unapologetic Man Podcast, the only podcast that's all about self-improvement, confidence, success, women, and being a man without making any apologies for it.
What is up, you champions? Thank you for tuning in to another episode. I hope the weekend treated you well, boys. And did you talk to a girl this weekend and maybe it didn't go as well as you wanted it to, or maybe it did go well and you're kind of wondering like what you did right, what you did wrong? I went out last weekend and there's oftentimes little things I noticed that I'm like, oh, dude, I should do a podcast about that. But they're so small, it's kind of like, how do you do a 20-minute episode about that, right? So what I did is over the past several months, I've been collecting different things that I've just wanted to mention to you boys, and I put them into this episode. It's going to be called 5 Gamey Things You Could Do with Girls to Get Them More Attracted to You. Obviously, I always over-deliver in this podcast, so it'll probably be more like 7 or 10 different things, but we have a lot to get through, so let's get into the content. All right, guys, so I want first to talk a little bit about eye contact and how you can use your eyes to quote unquote seduce women. Something that a lot of people don't know, but I think a lot of you guys do instinctually, is you kind of squint your eyes a little bit when you're looking at a hot girl or when you're talking to a girl. And this is actually extremely attractive. The reason it's attractive is because it shows in human body language terms that you're discerning, that you're trying to figure something out. And it's just sexy to women for some reason. So rather than talking to a girl with like your eyes just regular, once in a while, kind of squint them a little bit like you're trying to figure her out. And if she's like, what are you doing? You'd be like, oh, nothing. And I do this oftentimes, like I'll look at her forehead and I'll be like, kind of squinting my eyes, like trying to figure something out. She'll be like, what? And it's kind of fucked up because it makes them a little bit insecure. And that's a little bit of a technique, but really, just squinting your eyes a little bit, particularly when you meet eyes with a girl like from across the bar. Let's say you're looking at her, she looks at you and you kind of squint a little bit like you're Clint Eastwood about to gun down a bandito in one of his spaghetti westerns. It turns them on a lot because again, it's like you're discerning something, you're trying to figure her out. You're like that James Bond kind of vibe where you're like, little girl, I'm trying to get a read on you and I'm not quite sure. It really turns girls on. So squinting your eyes slightly, very attractive. Another thing, and this is so important, is when you meet eyes with a girl, and I've said this before in this podcast, but it bears repeating, don't be the one to look away first. I'm talking 10, 20, 30 seconds. You have to keep looking at her. If you guys are, say, for example, walking towards each other, you make eye contact, you're at the mall or something, you have to be the one that keeps eye contact until she looks away. So eye contact, I've done podcasts about it, is really, really powerful. And if when you meet eyes with a girl, say at the nightclub, the bar, a party, wherever it is, you're the one who looks away first, it looks really cowardly. So something gangster you could do is, say you are walking through a mall or even Walmart or Target or a supermarket, you meet eyes with a girl, keep your eyes on her and just look at her. You could even smile if you want to, but what I like to do is just keep looking at her until she looks away. Looking away is submissive. You just kind of in a way dominated her, right? Which shows the masculinity. It's funny, they've done studies and guys who go to zoos will oftentimes make eye contact with like the silverback gorilla or a lion and stare at him until the lion looks away so they can feel good about themselves dominating this fucking poor silverback gorilla that's stuck behind bars, and then the guy can go home and feel good about himself. This is just human nature. It's animal nature, and women respond to it too. The next one is to give some good eye contact, but at the same time, don't forget to take it away. One thing I'll often do is when she's speaking about something boring, I'll kind of be looking around the room and even maybe turn my body language a little bit away in the way of like my head, right? So let's say I'm looking directly at you and we're talking and you bring up some negative shit. You start complaining about your boss, you start complaining about your life, whatever it is. I'll kind of like look away and pretend that something's distracting me and even maybe like turn my head a little bit like I'm just completely distracted. And this subliminally makes her feel like she has to chase after your attention, but also it punishes the bad behavior of her complaining. So you could use this very methodically to reward good behavior when she's talking about stuff that you really like. You gave good eye contact. When she's talking about stuff you don't like, you take away eye contact or even like maybe cross your arms, lean back, put distance between you and her to reward what you want and punish what you don't want. The next one I like to do is like look her up and down as she's talking to me. Like again, I was staring at her forehead or her hairline or wherever to kind of make her feel like this guy's judging me. This guy's kind of assessing me. Now, that automatically puts you in the selector mentality, doesn't it? She's the one submitting the application, which is why you're kind of looking her up and down. And you could even do it jokingly, but this communicates that you're the prize and she's the one submitting the application. Another one I like to do is when she says something, and I literally did this weekend, which made me think of this episode. She says something and I'll just look at her with my eyes and maybe like shake my head, like just be like, I cannot believe you said that, right? That look on your face, like, I can't even believe you just said that, but with no words. Don't underestimate the power of no response. Don't underestimate the power of facial expressions and eye contact. Where if she says something to you, something sexy or something like that, and you just look at her with those squinted eyes and then maybe like bite your lip a little bit and then just like shake your head and then like look away. She's like, what was that? It was like a push-pull with just your looks. And a push-pull is basically like half the time you're pushing her away, the other half the time you're pulling her in. I'm going to talk a little bit more about that in a minute, but this could be just with your looks. So especially in like noisy places, nightclubs, bars, whatever, oftentimes just use looks. And this is really, really powerful if you can communicate your answer with a look. She's like, do you want to go, do you want to go roller skating? And in your mind, you're like, brah, roller skating's so corny, dude. Like, what are we in 1990? But instead, you just look at her like she sprayed your face with shit mist. You're just like, what the fuck? And you don't say anything. You just look at her for a minute and then slowly you shake your head no, right? And then smile and push her and don't say anything. Very, very powerful. All right, boys, we're going to shift gears a little bit. The next one is really important. Make sure to stay tuned. Real quick, I want to ask you, I'm doing a perks program where I will give you certain perks such as programs, such as different training, such as a bunch of cool shit that's on my website. So look in the links below, right in the bio there, below the podcast, you'll see a link for perks program. What I'm looking for is for reviews. I'm looking for comments. I'm looking for subscriptions. I'm really looking for you guys to tell friends about my podcast or even post about my podcast on such forums as Reddit, Seduction forums, Facebook, wherever you can. Believe me, guys, I always try to give back more to you than what you give to me. And if you hook me up with one of these perks, email me and I will send you all that cool shit. So whatever you could do for me to spread the word of this podcast, even if you get creative in some kind of way and you're like, oh, dude, I know what I could do for him. I could tell this many people in my organization or whatever it is. Email me, man, and I'll hook you up. Again, I always like to over deliver. I like to give more than what I ask for in return. So if you do that for me, I will send you back the kindness and do something awesome for you. Email me at coachmarksing@gmail.com. Even if it's just telling a couple friends, I appreciate that, bro tater cuff. Email me and I will send you all that cool shit. Please don't sleep on this. Please help a brother out. I feel like I've given you guys a lot. I try to deliver value all the time. The only thing I ask for is a little help in growing my podcast. I really don't feel like that's asking for too much. If you could be a homie and hook me up, I will email you personally and hook you up with a bunch of awesome programs and training. All right, guys, into the next one. So one thing I've often thought about, and I'm like, could this become its own podcast? I sometimes think yes, I sometimes think no. And as such, I haven't done a podcast on this, but this concept is so important. And here it is. Never become emotionally weak in the eyes of a woman. Never become emotionally weak because of a woman. Never let her and your attraction for her, your want for her, even your love for her cripple you. If your love and want and desire for her, particularly if you're chasing her, cripples you and makes you emotionally weak, she is going to lose all respect and all attraction for you. Why is this? Because, as I've told you guys many times on this podcast, women's attraction for you is based on your survivability. How likely are you to survive in today's society and, yes, even thrive? If you become emotionally weak for her, such as, for example, she's hanging out with some guy friend, and none of us like guy friends, okay? I get it. But she's hanging out with this dude and you get peanut butter and jealous. And you show that to her and you get a little bit butthurt and you even cry a little bit in her lap, hoping that your tears will be used as lubricant for sex and or your tears will convince her to get rid of this guy friend. She's going to lose attraction for you because here's how she thinks. If he becomes that weak because of what I do, what's society going to do to him? What is life going to do to him? How is he going to react when people push his buttons, when people push him around? Well, based on the current evidence, he's not going to react very well. He's getting jealous about my guy friend. I've been friends with this guy for 10 years. I've never slept with him. So why would I start sleeping with him now? And here this guy is, my boyfriend, getting super jealous about it. Ew, that's gross. She'll lose attraction for you. And now the chances of her sleeping with that dude go up exponentially. So when you become emotionally weak for a woman, it burns her attraction for you. Because again, it shows that you have low survivability. Life can just push you around. You are basically a beta cuck and you are essentially a pussy. So even if you are jealous, don't show it. Even if you hate the fact that she does XYZ thing, at the very most, talk to her about it, but don't show your butthurt about it. If she insults you or says, hey, you're getting a little bit chubby, like remember what Nicole Simpson said to OJ Simpson? She's like, you're getting a little bit chubby. And what did that motherfucker do? He killed her. Not because necessarily that, obviously because he was peanut butter and jealous to a super high degree, but he was an emotionally weak person. And that's probably why she blew him out. An NFL star, a famous celebrity, got blown out by a chick because he was essentially weak. He was peanut butter and jealous of freaking everything. Did you guys hear that he was probably over there to slash her tires because he'd been doing that for the past several months? And he was like peeking in her window and stalking her. And then I think she came out to get something from that Ron Goldman guy. And then he fucking murdered both of them. Insane, dude. Insane how weak that dude is. He's the quintessential example of becoming emotionally weak for a woman. Not because of anything she did, but because he's emotionally weak within himself. Why is that? He hasn't worked on himself. He has issues from his past. He has undealt with traumas, meta programs, schemas, and archetypes. Exactly what I do in my 3-month coaching program, which is why I get testimonial after testimonial of guys saying, holy you changed my life. I can last longer in bed. I'm not jealous anymore. I have utmost confidence to approach girls that 2 months ago I would have never approached. It's all in the head, boys. And if you become emotionally weak for a woman, if you become needy, if you become creepy and try to control her, that shows emotional weakness. She loses all attraction for you. The next one, boys, is this. And I thought about this last weekend. It's so important. So listen carefully. After you do something gamey with a girl, and I'll explain what that means, gamey, but I think you know. Something that's like a technique, a tactic, something where you're teasing her, busting her chops, getting her a little bit butthurt. You want to follow that up with something real. So for example, something gamey. I mentioned push-pull earlier in the episode. Push-pull is basically half the time you're pretending to push her away, the other half the time you are pulling her in. So an example of this, very simple example, I give way more in my coaching program, but a simple example is this. Too bad you're not my type, which is a push, because you're cute, which is a pull. You see how I did that? It's like I disqualified her, but in the same sentence, I like validated her. And that's called a push-pull. But that's pretty gamey, isn't it? It's like, too bad you're not my type because you're pretty cute. That's pretty gamey. So after I do that, I make sure to dump in some real stuff. So for example, I say to her a gamey thing, which is, so what's good about you beyond your looks? Okay. And that's called qualifying. It's the 4th pillar in the 4 pillars of attraction. I say, what's good about you beyond your looks? And she's like, well, I'm loyal and I'm fun and I'm a really good kisser and I give good blowjobs. Okay. At that moment, since I just did something gamey, I'm going to do something real. I'm going to be like, dude, that's awesome. I really respect that about you, especially the loyalty part. Loyalty is really important to me. I like the fact that you're loyal. That's fucking cool. You just went up 20 points in my book. You're now at negative 330. I'm just messing with you. But real talk, what have you done before that was like loyal? Do you have a story of like something you did with your friend that was really loyal? And then she could tell me about what she did was loyal. And you guys see how I did game, real, game, real. So you don't want to be too gamey, right? This is why a lot of guys get that reputation of being players, is false disqualifiers. Like, you and I would never get along because we're too similar. Doing push-pull. Too bad you like that college football team because you're actually really cool to talk to, but we definitely can't be friends. Doing something like a cold reading. I can tell the outside of you is this way, but the inside of you is that way. We have a lot of techniques, but if you just do one after the other, especially the real challenging type techniques where you're kind of seemingly pushing her away, that will probably be too much and she'll think of you as a boy. Whereas if you do one of those and then follow it up with something real, like what was the best day of your life? If you could have lunch with anybody throughout history, live or dead, who would it be? What's the thing that makes you happiest in the world? Like if you could do this one thing, what would that be? Those kind of questions are real questions. And by the way, they're way better than the typical interview type questions that most guys do, which is, where are you from? Where'd you go to school? Do you like living? Do you like weather? These boring ass questions that guys do. We differentiate ourselves with great questions that are spicy and deep, all of course of which I give you my 3-month coaching program. But we do gamey, real for the most part. Now there are balances and there are different scenarios, all of which would need to be discussed on a case-by-case basis because everything's different. And that's why it's great that we work together. You actually get to talk to us. You get to ask me questions. You meet with me and we do coaching. That's for you, right? Because there's no one size fits all. This is you. You have your different unique challenges. You have your different unique situations. But generally speaking, in order to be not perceived as a player, you do something real after you do something gamey. And that's generally a rule. All right, boys, we got 2 more, and I absolutely love this next one. Always and only leave women on a high note. Leaving them on a high note means always leave them wanting more. Always, if you can, leave them laughing. Always leave them feeling like, I want to talk more to that guy. For example, you go to a dry cleaner, she's really cute, you tell a joke, and when she's laughing, you say, hey, it was good to see you, and you leave. We want her on an emotional high the last time she sees you. This is also true for when you ask for the phone number. It's true for when you ask for the date. It's true for when you go for the kiss. You want her on a high note. And you always want to leave them wanting more, not only when you see them at the dry cleaner or at the gym, but also when you date them. Cut the date short before she's ready to cut the date short. You start making out with her. Be the one to cut it off. Tell her to go home before she's ready to go home. Never, boys, overstay your welcome. Whether you're on a phone call with her, whether you're texting with her, on a date with her, on a fucking 3-day Miami trip with her. Make sure that she hasn't had enough of you. Leave her wanting more, and always leave on a high note if you can. It's not always possible. Like sometimes I'll say bye to a girl and they'll be like, that was such a low note, right? Like I said bye when the conversation dropped. If you can, and all you guys will get better with experience, if you can, you want to leave them on a high note and then you dip out. Very important for attraction. All right, boys, and the last one, and I cannot stress this enough, you need to speak to women with a downward inflection, which means you're up here, she's down here, and you speak to her like you're a soccer coach, telling that 13-year-old girl on your soccer team to go gather up the balls because you guys are going to go do some laps or you're going to play some kind of game. So it's never, hey, Kelly, go get the balls and get the other girls. We're going to go ahead and we're going to play some games over here. It's, hey, Kelly, go grab the girls. Also grab all the soccer balls. Bring them over here. We're going to do some drills, okay? And it's always that downward inflection. The 2 most important things of opening a woman are what? And I'm testing you. I know we're about 20 minutes in. You're getting tired, brother, but stick with me here. What are the 2 most important things of approaching and opening a woman? That's right. You're a smart motherfucker. It's energy, feeling good within yourself, and tonality, downward inflection, always the authority, speaking with the downward inflection rather than an upward inflection. And for those of you watching on video, look at my hands. In this example, my hand is above her. Therefore, my inflection, my tone goes down. In this example, she's above me. Therefore, my tone goes up. And that's literally how you can look at it. If she's above you in any way whatsoever, she's going to lose attraction for you. Just like what I spoke about at the top of the show. Women do not want you to become emotionally weak for them. They want you to be socially above them, lead them, speak to them like you're the authority. I did an episode about this, definitely worth checking out, which was called Why You Should Speak to Women Like They Are a Peasant. It's one of my most downloaded episodes because the title is so fucking gangster, but it's true, man. Sometimes I have to get extreme and tell you guys gnarly things like that. Like, bro, you're the king. She's the shit-crusted peasant. Go out and tell her to clean all the goats' buttholes for sacrifice because you're the fucking king. And then guys are like, okay. And then they just go talk to a girl and they're like normal when they talk to her, or they have just the right pitch and intonation. That's because some guys are so over here on Mr. Nice Guy. Hey, how are you today? Can I get your phone number? That if I tell them to speak to him like a peasant, they're going to land right in the middle where they need to land, which is just authority. I'm cool, I'm respectful, but I'm also not to be fucked with, and I'm the leader here. I'm controlling the frame. Come on, little girl. I'll tuck you under my wing. I'll show you a good time. You're safe with me. With squinted eyes, right? And she's like, oh my hell, this Clint Eastwood vibe is totally doing it for me. Jumps in the air, triple backflip, gainer right onto your dick. So boys, those are some gamey rules of attraction. Let's go over them real quick. I did a whole eye contact section, which is respond with no words, give eye contact, take it away, look her up and down, look at her with your eyes only, squint your eyes to show that you're discerning. Next one is not becoming emotionally weak for her. That is very unattractive. Next one is after you do something gamey, make sure to do something real to show her that you're not just a boy. Next one's to leave on a high note. Always leave her wanting more. And the next one and final one is downward inflection. Guys, if you could please tell people about my podcast, leave me a review, spread the word of the uniform Mike Papa, the Unapologetic Man Podcast. I would super appreciate it. Email me at coachmarksing@gmail.com and I will send you more stuff in reply than you did for me because I always over-deliver. I always give more than what I ask for in return. So guys, thank you so much for listening. Have a great week this week. I'll see you on Thursday. Don't sleep on Thursday's episode. It's going to be really good. I'm just about to record it. You're going to love it. It's about getting the phone number. So come back and I will see you in the next episode.